Okay, so a really important thing, since we talked about these triads that we can move all over the fretboard. So triads that you can presumably, well, you can literally just find a chord sheet for a song and use them to play that song. So instead of just playing root notes, let's say you have a song that, I don't know, the chords go A, D, E, and A. You can then use the major triad to play that A major, D major, E major instead of playing just root notes. You can whoops. So you can then do something a little different, not just root notes anymore. So to do that, we need to learn a very essential thing, which is the names of the notes on the strings. And we're gonna start with just the E string and the A string, and then we'll learn the D string and the G string using our octave shapes. So let's talk about what the basic rules are for finding notes on the strings. So we have notes from A to G. Every note has a sharp and a flat, with a couple of exceptions that we'll mention right at the end. So let's take an A note, for instance. To the left of an A note, there's an A flat. To the right of this A note is an A sharp. Flat means one semitone lower, which is also one fret lower. Fret is one semitone. And sharp means one semitone higher, so one fret higher. Two frets are a full tone. A single fret is a semitone, half a tone. Okay, so notes from A to G. Every note has a sharp to its right and a flat to its left. But some don't. B is right next to C. E is right next to F. So we're going to go up the string in alphabetical order, and we'll see that. Let's take the A string, for example. So we'll have the A note here. On the first fret, we'll have A sharp. On the second fret, we'll have B. But then on the third fret, instead of having a B sharp, we're going to have a C note right away. Then on the fourth fret, we'll have a C sharp. So C has a sharp. It doesn't have a flat, but it has a sharp. Then we have a D note on the fifth. Now on the sixth, we have a D sharp. On the seventh, we have an E. And on the eighth, instead of having an E sharp, we'll have an F. And then an F sharp, a G sharp, and now we've ran out of notes, so we just go back to A. And then you could continue A sharp, B, C, and so on and so forth. After 12 frets, you get the same note again. So the open E string will play an E note, and then on the 12th fret, it will play another E note, which is an octave higher. The A string will play an A when played open, when plucked open, and then on the 12th fret, you'll have another A. Same thing for the D string, one octave higher on the 12th fret. Let's have a look at the E string as well. So we start with an E, we pluck the open E string, then we put the first finger on the first fret and we get an F note, because E doesn't have a sharp and F doesn't have a flat. We go to the second fret, we get an F sharp, then we get a G, then we get a G sharp, we get an A after that on the 5th fret, because we've ran out of notes, so we go back to A sharp, B, then C. Instead of a B sharp, we go straight to C. B, C, and E, F right next to each other. C sharp, D, D sharp, E, which means we've reached an octave. So fret 0, fret 12, 12 frets are an octave. Then we could continue with F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A, and so on and so forth till we get to the end of the string. And that is just about how we will memorize the notes on E and A. You can test yourself by picking a string and the fret and counting up to that and naming the notes. See how fast you can do it. Sooner or later, you'll be able to do it instantly, like B note on the 7th fret of E, D note on the 5th fret of A, B on the 2nd fret of A, G sharp on the 4th of E, and so on and so forth. You just gotta name the notes right away after a while, but it takes some practice, and you need to go slowly, one fret at a time. Make sure you don't make any mistakes until you get to the fret you chose on the string you chose. We'll be doing this in the lessons as well. Another thing you can do is you can challenge yourself to find a specific note on a specific string. This is actually more common, I would say, when just generally speaking, it's more common because we're learning songs. We already have a chord sheet or something in front of us, and we need to know how to find the root note for that chord and sort of create it, right? Put together a shape there, or just play the root note. Even then, we need to find that specific note. So you would look at a chord sheet, you'd see the first chord is a C, and then you would have to look for that note on, let's say, the E string. And you go and you count up the string. You go E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C. But a little slower and more carefully than how I did it now. So eventually you'll be able to find them very quickly. Try that as well. Choose a note to find on a specific string. Like, try to find a D note on the A string or a B note on the E string. Okay, that's it for notes on E and A.